The New York Rangers have just robbed the Carolina Hurricanes. As it's official, K'Andre Miller has been traded to Carolina, and the prospect the Rangers have gotten back in return is going to have Rangers fans absolutely fired up. We're going to break down what this trade means for the future for the Rangers, the salary cap implications, and of course, who they got back in return, because again, it's going to have you guys absolutely fired up. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 77% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with your New York Rangers, go down below, hit that free subscribe button, because this is the place to be for all your daily Blue Shirts content. But Bret, let's get right into it. We had a video earlier that this was going to happen. He was headed to Carolina, but we weren't sure of the specifics of the trade. And we were told that, at the time it was just a draft pick, and we covered that, and we thought that that was going to be nice. But boy, oh boy, is it a lot better than that. The full trade breakdown is K'Andre Miller, and it was technically a sign and trade. So the New York Rangers technically signed K'Andre Miller and then traded him to the Carolina Hurricanes. So K'Andre Miller gets an 8-year deal at $7.5 million, which is kind of in the range that we were projecting. Shout out to Scotia Stat Projections, has been bang on with everything. But in return, the New York Rangers get a top 10 protected first round pick, the better of Carolina's first round picks, because they have two of them, or they did have two of them, I guess, next year. A second round pick in next year's draft. And not only that, prospect Scott Morrow, who's a 22-year-old defenseman who spent some time in the NHL and the AHL. We'll get to him in a second, because he is the real steal of this trade. Like, I cannot believe they came out with this guy. But what do you make of the trade? K'Andre Miller, no longer a Ranger. He's making a ton of money. He's going to be on the Hurricanes, a division rival, which is something we got to consider as well. What do you make of the trade?
I think it is a beautiful trade, Darius. Who would have thought that after we saw Ivan Provorov yesterday sign that absurd deal to remain in Columbus, $8.5 million, I said, here we go. The bar is set extremely high. I called it big fish in a small pond. That is how the market is reacting. But boy, oh boy, did Chris Drury pull some magic out of his rear end and get Vladislav Gavrikov on that 7-year, $7 million deal, which was not only great for his value to get him on that contract, but it sets up everything else. It makes the Rangers flexible to bring back Will Cooley. It allows them to explore their options with K'Andre Miller, get the best deal for him, and they certainly did do that when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes, because look, we all know the Rangers have been desperate for defensemen, but it looks like the Carolina Hurricanes are a bit desperate as well. We spoke about this in the last video, Darius. Some of their best defensemen on the team, the jury is still out on those guys, because we don't know how much they got left in the tank. We don't know what the future holds for those guys like Bret Burns and Dmitry Orlov. So they had to make this aggressive move for a young defenseman that they believe in. They clearly believe in K'Andre Miller. They're giving up a major haul. They have a ton of cap space, so they're able to execute that trade. But look, I said it last video. Chris Drury does not trade in the Eastern Conference, especially if it's a player of significance. And I said that Chris Drury must have known he was getting a haul in return, because if he was not getting a haul, he would have looked to do business with a team out west like the Detroit Red Wings. So why did he do this trade with the Carolina Hurricanes? It's because he knew he was going to get the maximum value back in return. And boy, did he do that, Darius. This is a great move, and Scott Morrow cannot go overlooked here, guys. We are going to break him down in just a second. Beautiful move. Very nice offseason for the Rangers so far. Very busy day.
Very busy day and a good day. I'm liking a lot of these moves so far, because based on what we were hearing, I thought this was going to be a bit disastrous, I have to be honest. And, ever since this morning, I've been like, wow, great move after great move. What we heard was $9 million for Gavrikov. You get him for $7 million. That's $2 extra million that you can put towards Cooley. They haven't even traded Carson Soucy yet, who makes $3.2 million. And now you've traded K'Andre Miller for a great haul. And like you said, we heard the LA Kings in terms of the West. And then obviously the newest thing was the Detroit Red Wings. And now obviously he's going to a division rival in the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm sure that was part of the trade as well, where Chris Drury was like, hey, you guys are in division. Like, you got to give us something worthwhile here. And boy, oh boy, did they get that. They got a first-round pick next year and a second-round pick in next year's draft. That's great value in itself. I think I would have been happy with just that, I have to be honest. But not only that, they got a defenseman who's actually going to be a difference maker and should be an NHL defenseman in the next few years. I mean, maybe even next year. He's spent some time in the NHL. We'll get into that. You can see here he's a very offensively minded defenseman, which is great. He's a right shot defenseman as well. Scott Morrow, he was one of their, highly touted prospects over there in the Carolina Hurricanes system. As you can see here with the advanced analytics, not the best defensively, right? Which obviously you want that out of a defenseman. We know that, but he's a very good offensive defenseman. Could be kind of a replacement in the system, at least, for a Victor Mancini who was traded earlier in the year for a JT Miller. I think that could make a lot of sense. Of course, he spent some time in the NHL with the Carolina Hurricanes. 2 games played last season, or 2 seasons ago at this point, I guess. Then last season, he played 14 games in the NHL. He had 6 points in those 14 games. Not bad, almost half a point a game player at the NHL level. That's pretty good for a 22-year-old. And then, of course, in the AHL with the Chicago Wolves, he played 52 games and he had 39 points. So clearly, this kid loves to put up points. Right shot defenseman. He's already 22. He's 6'2", by the way. 6'2", 210 pounds. This, and I'm trying not to, over exaggerate too much, Bret. This is quite literally a slam dunk trade.
Oh, Darius, you're not overstating anything. This is absolutely a slam dunk trade. I mean, we look at the first round pick. First of all, the Rangers got the better first round pick, as you just said. I mean, We all expect Carolina to be in the mix. They always are. We expect them to be a postseason team, but the Rangers are getting the first round pick. That is absolutely beautiful. And we're not getting a third round pick along with that. We're getting a second round pick. So even if the Rangers, Detroit, they were rumored to put an offer sheet out on K'Andre Miller, the Rangers would have got a first and third round pick. No. The Rangers are getting a first and second round pick along with this beautiful young prospect. And guys, I just want to clarify something I said earlier. I said out west Detroit Red Wings. What I meant to say was the LA Kings along with the Detroit Red Wings that were just rumored here as of late to pursue K'Andre Miller. So that was a mistake on my part. But yes, there were definitely some teams interested in K'Andre Miller, but Chris Drury didn't let his stubbornness blind him here, because we know he doesn't like to trade in the conference. He didn't let his stubbornness blind him. He took the best deal available. He did what was best for business and the New York Rangers moving forward. And I love the offseason that the Rangers are putting together here. I was very negative on Chris Drury because the plan was backwards, Darius. We spoke about this. The Rangers were waiting for to see what was going on with Gavrikov and the Kings. So it seemed like the Rangers were doing this whole plan backwards, not taking care of their own first, waiting to see how another team negotiated with their player. Luckily, it worked out for the Rangers. This is a slam dunk deal, Darius. It's been a really nice offseason. Just to think that K'Andre Miller is making more money than Vladislav Gavrikov, I mean, come on. That is a huge, huge W. Chris Drury deserves his flowers on this one. I've been hard on him, but he deserves his flowers today. He made some magic happen. Good for the Rangers. Good for us fans. Let's keep it going.
Absolutely. Credit where credit is due. And I think we've been very complimentary of Chris Drury on the channel. But of course, when you need to, talk about a move that he's done or something that he's done poorly, we're going to talk about it, right? But today was tidy business. Although I do want to reiterate and echo what you said. I mean, we were kind of frustrated because there was a clear path here. There was a clear plan that we thought he was going to implement here. And the reason we were frustrated is because it was quite literally the opposite, right? We were like, okay, Gavrikov is going to be the last domino to fall. He's going to be the last, piece to be moved. Clearly, the first thing they're going to do is, move Carson Soucy, and then they're going to sign, Will Cooley, and then they're going to, trade or get, offer sheet, whatever ended up happening. K'Andre Miller, then it's going to be Gavrikov, and it was like literally the exact opposite that they've done here. And Carson Soucy is still technically on the team. They have $1.4 million left in cap space, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But one thing's for sure, this was a slam dunk trade. This is good asset management. We've seen poor asset management from Chris Drury. Today was good asset management. Love to see that. Hope we see more of that in the future. But let us know in the comments how you feel about this trade. I think this was great, honestly, and I think they're going to be a lot better for it. And I feel like Scott Morrow is actually a lot closer to the NHL and being a regular NHLer than people realize through this trade and what everyone's hearing right now. So that is really good news. And he's a right shot, right? So yes, go ahead, Bret. Any final thoughts?
Just the final thoughts I want to throw in here, Darius, because I'd be remiss not to mention this, is the fact that, Scott Morrow can't overlook him. He's produced at every level here. He's been solid in the AHL. He's been solid at UMass. He was very good there. And he does have NHL experience, which Darius did bring up earlier. Not only NHL experience, but playoff experience. He actually played in the 2025 playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals. So he does have experience under his belt. This is a very good move. And guys, make sure you tune in tomorrow because we're going to live stream. Today was a very busy day, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow on the live stream. And make sure you tune into our Twitter at Rangers Digest YouTube. The YouTube is abbreviated, so it's Rangers Digest YT on X. Make sure you stay in tune with that and the live stream for tomorrow. But Darius, take us home.
Absolutely. You can find that in the description as well. So check out the X, of course, as Bret said. We're also going to be on socials very soon. We'll keep you posted on that because we're going to be on every social media platform very soon. But yes, like Bret said, we're going to be live tomorrow breaking down everything because, of course, we got to talk about Gavrikov and what it means for the team. We got to talk about Will Cooley. I'm glad that he's back. I'm really relieved. I'll tell you that. And then, of course, I think that this is a fantastic trade. Really big fan of this trade. We're going to break it all down in that live stream. But let us know how you feel about everything in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.